Hello and welcome to another edition of Shoot the Defence on FNX. I'm your host Stel, and I've got three guests with me tonight. Well, I say three guests. I've got two regulars. I've got Jan back from his deathbed. How you doing?
Not bad.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah,
all good. That's
a
what
lot
I like
better.
to hear. That's what I like to hear. And Rhodri Giggs, how you doing, buddy? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thanks. Good. Just recovered from Sunday.
Just yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah. All right, listen, this isn't all about you, okay? This isn't all about you. It's about the show itself, okay? You've grown a beard. You look like you've been living on the streets of country. So go into that. Now, our special guest tonight is a gentleman that's got a lot more respect than Jan. He's a big name in Manchester, I'd say. He did some bits for MEN, done some bits for BBC. It's Ian Cheeseman. Welcome back to the show, mate. How you doing?
How you doing? Very well, thank you.
Great to have you back. How's things?
Yeah, couldn't be better at the moment, to be honest.
See, you're not on Google Hangout, so you can't see Jan's face at the moment. Face like thunder. Well, look, you mentioned your vlog before the show, mate. Would you like to tell listeners about it?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel called Ian Cheeseman Forever Blue. I do a vlog at every Manchester City game, and the latest one, which was recorded at Old Trafford on Sunday, is up to about 60,000 at the moment. So if you've not had a look at it, take a look at it, and I'll do another one tomorrow at Swansea, and onwards and upwards we go.
Fantastic, great stuff. Well, look, we might as well talk about the derby since you're here, I guess. And Man City, as we know now, probably have one hand on the Premier League trophy following their Derby Day victory at Old Trafford. And goals from the mercurial David Silva and Otamendi extended Pep Guardiola's team's lead to the top to 11 points. Now, Ian, you're obviously at the game. What's your evaluation on City's performance, mate?
It was excellent. I mean, they went there and went to try to win the game. I was at the Pep Guardiola press conference today, and he explained when Vincent Kompany went off at half time, wide dropped Fernandinho in at centre back, who isn't probably the most natural replacement at centre back, and said that he'd done it to send a message to his own team that City were going to be positive and go for the victory. And ultimately, Mangala came on and played in that position. But I suppose that comment and that answer to that question summed up City's attitude. City were on the front foot, went there to try to win the game, and did win the game. It was very tight in the sense that there's a great double save by Ederson near the end. But I think any fair-minded person that saw the game will admit that City were far superior to United, who were a little more cautious. Now, whether that cautiousness was forced by City's positivity and good performance, or whether that was the old cliche of Mourinho parks the bus, the City fans were singing throughout the game, is open to interpretation. Personally, I thought United were too cautious. When they were a goal down, they went for it a little bit and got a goal quite quickly. And at that point, as a blue watching that game, I thought if they carried on like this, City would have a few issues, but they didn't. Half-time came and went, and United reverted back to being quite cautious, which I think in the end played into City's hands, and obviously they ran out winners.
Ian, I remember the 5-1, I remember the 6-1, I remember a few 3-1s. Was this actually the most one-sided derby you can remember, though? It seemed like it to me anyway.
Yeah, probably over the 90 minutes, I think you're right. I mean, I think that was my 73rd derby that I've actually attended, and I can't remember a game where I felt less worried about United. The crowd, it seemed to me, the United fans, that is, were very quiet right from the off, as if they were a little bit worried themselves, which isn't really typical of United fans. They're usually full of beans and full of confidence, but they reacted once they got level, but apart from that, they were pretty quiet throughout. So yeah, you'd have to say that City are obviously a very good team playing well at the moment, and they were pretty stunning. I mean, they actually played better than that in performances this season. But in terms of derbies, I thought that was a very dominant display. I mean, it's hard to say that it was better than. Obviously you can't beat a score of 6-1 at Old Trafford or 5-1 at Main Road as it was. And they did play well on those days too. But in terms of controlling the game and dominating, probably there hasn't been one as emphatic as that now.
I agree. And, Jan, we spoke a few weeks ago about Sergio Aguero and how often he's left out of all-time Premier League strikers list. I don't know if you remember that conversation. But, Ian, when discussing creative midfielders, David Silva has to be up there with the best, surely. I mean, doesn't he got the most assists over the past few years? Something like that?
Well, I'm not a big believer in statistics. I mean, I attend a lot of games, and I'd rather judge with my eyes and my instincts from watching games. And, anybody that's watched a lot of football matches, I'm sure would rather do that. David Silva flies under the radar a bit because he's not a flamboyant character off the field. He's not even a flamboyant character on the field. He's sort of the glue that holds it all together. But he's been playing in this team now that, have up the game and come level with United, and arguably have gone past them in terms of performances and successes over the last 5 or 6 years, and he's been a consistent thread in that. And although Kevin De Bruyne gets a lot of the accolades, and I understand why he gets a lot of the accolades, and there's some other very good players in that team, my own personal feeling is that if City were to suffer one long-term injury that would do them the most damage, it would actually be David Silva. But for some reason, not everybody always can see that.
Yeah, we've seen it over the years. When Silva's been out of the City's side, they have struggled. But because they've got so many fantastic players around him, it kind of masks it, doesn't it?
Do you know what, Stel? For me, David Silva is probably Man City's greatest ever player.
Yeah.
For me.
Okay.
I think so.
I'm not looking at you like in a patronising sense. Yeah. I agree with you in that.
I don't know what Ian as a City fan thinks. Obviously, he's seen probably a lot more.
Well, you got Aguero as the leading goal scorer.
Yeah, I just think as a player and as an influence and what he's done and his ability, for me personally, like I said, I think he's City's all-time greatest player.
It's hard to argue with that. I mean, I think that Yaya Toure has been a big influence for City. I know he's not the same influence now that he was, but the timing of when he came in, the significance of the goal he scored, the huge statement even that the club made by signing him in the first place, I think he's been one that can't be ignored. But for longevity as well now, I think David Silva possibly is taking over that greatest ever player, but it's nice now as a City supporter who's watched a lot of rubbish down the years, let's be honest, and watched United have some great players, and it's like picking your favourite Beatles record, isn't it, with the United player, you've got so many to select from. But at least now City have got players you can argue about to say who is their greatest ever, which until perhaps 6 or 7 years ago it was always limited to the 68 championship winning team.
That's right. Now, Rod, I think it's like popping a balloon, isn't it? Just letting it go. Let's talk about United. Unfortunately, we have to, and I think it's fair to say that United were poor in the first half. They didn't seem to have any sort of game plan apart from lumping the ball up. Now, we've seen United lose 5-1 and 6-1 to City, as I mentioned earlier, in the last 3 decades. But this actually has to be one of the most pathetic derby performances from the Red Half. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it was. Like you say, that from the last 2 games we've seen as well from Watford and Arsenal, they started on the front foot, and we expected, especially with the team that they had out, we expected that to start again, and it just didn't. It just didn't materialise. It was just a poor game, and just showing how much golfing class that City have got upon us, and it was just a realisation that we're miles behind them, and to have one player, your most influential player out, and just to as a team to be diminished as the way we were, it was just it was a sad watch, to be fair. Lukaku, I've watched him now for like 15 games, and he's not done anything in these big games, and that's what he needs to do. That chance he has in the last 10-15 minutes, he has to put that away. He's got to put that away. Even the mistakes that he made for the goals. The first one, he's getting bullied off Otamendi, who is at 5'10", and Lukaku's 6 foot. That shouldn't be happening. And the second goal is just, as a player, you want to get everything behind it, but you need to get it away for goal, so as high as possible. And he's just swung at it recklessly, and it's ended up in a goal, and ultimately it ended up in a lost game. And You know, if we would have got a draw in that game, it would have been a travesty for City, and it would have been embarrassing. But you know, we're a long way to go, and we'll just have to keep going. But after that game, the season's over for me. It's City's to lose now.
Yeah. The thing is, for me, I remember, you know, obviously, and Ian won't like me reminding him that, you know, when United were dominating in the 90s and early 2000s, whenever United faced City, we always knew it was going to be a difficult game, always, because City players were up for it. The players were up for it. The fans were up for it. You know, that last game at Main Road, you know, it was a cauldron. You know,
it was a different kind of game there, Stel, because you had, on both teams, you had homegrown players, so that made it a different kind of game in itself.
Exactly. Exactly, and this is what I'm about to ask you guys. I mean, do you think that's played a big part in United at the moment? Because obviously City, we know that they got full of world-class players, and we know how well they've been, 14 straight wins. But if United had a few more homegrown players, would that have made any difference? You mentioned McTominay before the show that he should have played. I mean, for me, Ander Herrera, I'm done with him. He's just he's just Spanish Cleverly, as far as I'm concerned.
It's probably worse at the moment, to be fair. Well, we had Rashford and Lingard on the pitch. It wasn't good enough still. I mean, if you want me to start, I'm going to start. I'm not going to stop. But it just showed it was men against boys. As a team, we're far behind Manchester City. And it pains me to say this.
As a squad,
as a team, progression, style of football, ambition. I mean, all right, it's documented. We all know City have got the money. They can go and buy anybody they want. Are you trying to tell me United couldn't buy Perisic? And why we couldn't sign Perisic?
But Woodward didn't want to spend the money. But listen, I'm going to take you back to what you just said about spending the money, right? You can spend all the money in the world, but if you don't have a coach that can mold these players into a system that he wants, it's pointless. And I've been very critical of Guardiola over the years, but if you look at the way that City are at the moment, he's got the best out of players that you would. I mean, Otamendi, where was he 2 seasons ago?
It's his attention to detail as well, Guardiola. Yeah. You watch him on the sideline, and he, you know, they might just kick the ball out for a throw, and he's infuriating. He's angry. It's like he's a perfectionist. Yeah, there you go. It's everything's on the detail, and you can tell that the team plays to his style and his philosophy. At United, you know, I'm not here to criticise Mourinho. What is our philosophy? What is our style at the moment? We don't know. One week we can go to Arsenal and play this great attacking football or counter-attacking football. Oh, you know, United look good. And then we defend against our bitter rivals at home and have 35% of the ball. And we've got Rojo, who's Kimball at Wimbledon, knocking the ball to Fashanu, to Lukaku. I mean, is this where United are going? Because if it is, it's worrying times. Okay,
I think you're being a little bit harsh, given that United have scored 4 goals in 8 separate games this season. You can't tell me that United haven't been attacking teams.
But who have United scored them goals against?
But last season, we were saying that United weren't scoring against these teams. So what do you want?
Last season's gone still. This is this season.
Right, okay.
If we want to talk about Mourinho's record against the big clubs in the last 2 years, it's pathetic.
Okay.
That's poor. Now, I don't know if it was a fear factor on Sunday. I don't know. I personally believe we showed City too much respect at Old Trafford.
Shall I be honest with you? I think United were petrified.
That's what I mean. Too much respect.
They're petrified. It's not respect. I think they're petrified.
Petrified, but
I think they're pissing themselves. Honestly.
David Silva and De Bruyne. We all know about their quality. I cannot believe for 1 minute United did not go to match them. They're the match winners at Manchester City. Yeah, we did it with Eden Hazard last season at Old Trafford against Chelsea. He put Herrera on him, notified Chelsea and Hazard, and he made the game a lot easier. How can you let David Silva and De Bruyne control the whole game at Old Trafford?
Herrera can't chase 2 people.
No, you got Matic. Or play 3 midfield.
So,
He could have gone with a different style of tactics, whatever way you want to call it, to notify that the midfield was the biggest problem. And we let them run them midfield.
I think you're being a bit harsh. I think you're being a bit harsh because if you bear in mind that he only had Herrera and Matic as the only experienced central midfielders available. Matic wasn't fully fit anyway. Pogba was out. Fellaini was out. You know, who else could he have put in that team? I'm sorry. Yeah, he could have played Matt, but whenever Matt gets the ball on the halfway line, he loses it. So yeah, and he's another one. I think he's going to be off in the side. Look, you mentioned Lukaku earlier. You know, let's not digress.
Okay.
You know, he got an absolute hiding on social media, and you know, you've obviously had a couple of days to evaluate his performance. I mean, do you think the stick is justified?
Yes.
Or you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a £75 million striker. Now, forget the price tag. I'm just saying for the fact that he's a £75 million striker. I agree with Rod. He doesn't do enough for me. He does not chase. He does not hurry. He looks 2 seconds behind the defender every single time. He looks like he has not got a clue where the ball's going to land. The chance at the end, okay, he should score. But these are the kind of games that you need your top striker to come alive. If that was Aguero, he scores. That's Salah, he scores. He should score. That's why United bought him for these kind of games, to make the difference. He's 6'2", whatever he is. He's built like a brick. I'm 5 foot nothing. I could knock Lukaku off the ball. That's what he does not use his body or his strength to his advantage that he should. His hold-up plays.
Is the thing that you're talking about, and I can feel your passion, and I love your passion, and it's we know we might follow different teams, but we share passion for our football teams. Isn't the thing at the moment that is different between City and United, quite apart from the skill levels which you're discussing, quite apart from the tactics and all the rest of it, isn't the difference at the moment, the thing that's missing for me of watching so many derbies down the years and watching United for so many years, is that absolute indestructibility, that team spirit, that togetherness, that, you know, where the top lip curls back and exposes the teeth. You know, Rooney did it for many years, and obviously lots of other players at United have done it. And I don't see that at the moment in this United team. But I see it from City, and obviously all the stuff that happened in allegedly happened in the dressing room afterwards was a sign after the game of Mourinho being really upset about it. But what was he upset about? City showing team spirit in the dressing room and showing their emotions in the dressing room. Where was that emotion on the pitch, that fight on the pitch? I saw it from Ashley Young about 2 or 3 minutes from the end when City were keeping the ball in the corner. He showed a bit of fight then, but where was it earlier in the game? That's what's missing from United.
Ian, I'll tell you something. I've been saying this for weeks. United players don't have balls, right? If you remember the Huddersfield game, I don't know if you saw it, 2 minutes in, Martial gets a kick from the right back, and that was it. He didn't want to know, right? At the weekend, Jesse Lingard had the opportunity to go sliding in on David Silva on the edge of the box, just to clatter him, just to show, like Scholes would do. Tell him, you know, show him that you're there.
The one that he pulled out?
He pulled out of it. You know, it's just little things like that. You know, I mean, I look at City, right? They're not the most physical side, but they can get at people. They got, you know, little Sterling. He's a little, you know, he can give a person a kick here and there. Do you know what I mean? But we don't have those players.
I think,
you know? And even the players that we do have, they don't do it enough.
Is there a bigger question here? You know, the game has changed. It isn't as physical now. You're not allowed to get away with what you did before. So Mourinho, who at Chelsea and at Real Madrid and at Porto built sides that were all about strength and power and all this and passion. I mean, I'm all for simplifying it, I know, but that was an element of what he built sides on. And now, because you can't do those things anymore, Roy Keane couldn't play in the current game. You know, you can't have players like that anymore that run around and show passion, which we all admired in their era. Graham Souness, whatever era you want to go back into. But these days, it's all about touch. You only got to breathe on somebody and you get a free kick. So this type of Pep Guardiola style, which is all about touch and movement and passing and everything, is it not the football to play in the modern era? I mean, whether you agree with the rules changing, the direction that football's going in or not is irrelevant. The point is we are where we are and the game is less physical. And so therefore, this type of football might not have worked, is what I'm saying 10 years ago, but it's working now. I
think you're right, because I mean the proof is in the pudding, and the results against the big clubs that play that expansive style of football, Mourinho hasn't got the results. Okay, apart from Arsenal the other week, but against City we've struggled, against Liverpool we struggled, against Spurs we struggled, against Chelsea we struggled, but then against the likes of your Burnleys, your Stokes, all the teams that we like to call cannon fodder, who are very physical, you know, United have done well against them because they overpower them.
They've got better quality as well than those teams, so they outplay them. They don't need to resort to that more physical mentality because they then have the far superior technical ability. But is that not the flaw in Mourinho going forward? Is he, you know, I don't mean this in quite the provocative way you think I'm going to mean it, but I do mean it as a serious comment. Is he not yesterday's man? Has he not got to change his tactics and come up with the way the football's played now?
Yeah, the thing is with that, Ian, I just think that because he was relatively successful last season, winning 2 trophies, I think he can turn around and say, well, look, my formula's working because, you know, we've won 2 trophies. We qualified for the Champions League. We're second, which is an improvement on last season. So I think until he has a meltdown like he did at Chelsea, I think he's going to stick to what he's doing at the moment. But you mentioned physical players, and you know, Vincent Kompany, he was one of those players back when I remember when he joined City. And why do you think he was second off at half time? Because to me, he seemed a little bit, I don't know, a bit nervy, maybe lacking a bit of match fitness.
It was injury. You know, he's got an injury. The manager said he's ruled out the trip to Swansea tomorrow. He's got a muscle injury. He has recurring problems with muscles. And the fact is, you know, as much as he's been a great player for City, Fergie knew how to move players on when the time was up. And I'm afraid, as much as it pains me to say it as a Blue, because he's a great bloke and he's been a great player, I'm afraid it's time to move on from Vincent Kompany, because he's too brittle now to play regular football. But that's why he came off at half time.
Can I just add a few things about the derby on Sunday?
How many more things? Because I got all night.
No, just a couple. Pogba missing was such a massive, you know, for United. He makes such a massive difference when he plays. But it seems like United have got this perfect excuse now. When Pogba doesn't play, United are rubbish, and Pogba makes United tick. Also, what I saw...
Sorry, Yambi, this is Man United. We shouldn't be... If one player is out, that shouldn't influence how the team plays.
But this is what I'm trying to say, Rodri. The fact that when he's not there, we've seen the difference. We've seen him at the start of the season when he plays, how United play a different style. And then since he was injured and now he's been suspended, United played totally different. So it looks like we just rely on him.
He's the catalyst. He's the catalyst for Mourinho. He's the catalyst for Mourinho's kind of style. That you've been saying, he's been saying. He overpowers teams. They don't outplay teams. Sometimes they'll have sprinkles of good play, but they overpower teams. He's the catalyst for them. If Fellaini was fit, I'm sure he would have played as well. That's the way he plays. Sorry, go on.
No, that's all right, mate. It's the second point I wanted to make was the elegant style of City against United's lack of quality. David Silva, fantastic on the ball. De Bruyne, short passes. Everybody comfortable on the ball. United, petrified. Couldn't beat a man.
Listen, football's cyclical, mate. It's cyclical,
massive,
right? Look at Liverpool in the early '90s under Graham Souness. They were appalling. You know, and they were looking at United thinking, "What's going on here?" You know, so it happens. You just got to suck it up and take it on the chin. You know, United ain't going to be successful forever. I know we're sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, they should be better. They should be better," but at the end of the day, you know, we know that Ferguson left an average squad. We know that Moyes messed things up. We know Van Gaal was sure as hell, messed things up. And here comes Jose to come in to sort things out, and these things happen. You know, I just
you say these things happen. They've made 3 mistakes. They've brought Moyes in, they've made a mistake. They brought Van Gaal and made a mistake, and they've brought Mourinho, which made a mistake. They know the type of football he plays. They should have got Guardiola, but they didn't. They went from Mourinho. So that's what we've signed up for. We know how he plays.
There was no chance. There was no chance of Guardiola coming to United when Begiristain went to City. They were planting the seeds then from years ago, wasn't it, Ian?
Well, it was years.
Absolutely. I mean, the big mates, so that was always going to happen. But what Rodri's saying is true. They should have gone for somebody. I mean, with United's pedigree and the history that they've got of the way that they play and wanting to entertain the crowd, there are other coaches out there. It's not just about one man and Guardiola. It's about having a bit of imagination and finding perhaps a young coach that isn't a headline yet. I mean, I'm not an expert on who the right coach is, but Mourinho felt to me when he was appointed at United as just being, oh blimey, City have got Guardiola, we better get somebody, and Mourinho's won lots of trophies in the past, so we'll get him. But he doesn't fit to the United. That's why Fergie didn't recommend him. That's why United didn't go for him in the first place, because he's a bit anti-football, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Rhodri will say, yeah. Jan will say, yeah. I just think that with him, you know, as a good friend of ours, Jonas Yevo once said, you know, you don't get Jose Mourinho to play attractive football. You get him to win trophies, and he won 2 trophies in his first season. You know, I'm one of these people. It's like I don't care if the football is ugly. If you win, you win. You know, give me 38 1-0s. You know. The George Graham. Yeah, get George Graham. Here you go. We'll do that. There you go. Right, let's move on. Quick question to all you guys. Is the title done and dusted? Rod?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. After watching that on Sunday, Can I see Manchester City losing 4 games and Manchester United win every single game? That's what you've got to ask yourself. That's not going to happen. So, and City won't lose 3 games. 2. I want you kind of see them losing 2 games. They could even go all season without winning a game. They're that good. Depending on injuries, you know, it's a tough season, and obviously the Christmas fixtures is difficult. But they've got that quality. They've got that, and they've got a good squad as well. So you wouldn't bet against it, but it'd be tough. But no, the league is done and dusted after Sunday, most definitely.
You?
Well, stating the obvious, mathematically it's not over, but you can't see anybody pipping them to the title. Maybe complacency might play a part if they start thinking it's over, and they might start concentrating on the Champions League and whatever else. Maybe take the one eye off the title race. But no, for me, they're going to win it. I said at the start of the season that they would win it, and they're proving me right this season. They've been phenomenal.
You know, I've seen an interview with Kevin De Bruyne after the game, and one of the reporters says, "Do you think the league's over?" And he said, "Well, I'd rather be 11 points in front than 11 points behind." These guys are daft. They're not going to drop the mentality. They're going to go on and win the league. No worries about that.
Ian, the way that the City players celebrate at the end of the game, it's almost as if they'd won the title. Do you think it's done and dusted? I know you're not the kind of complacent guy, but I don't think many City fans are counting their chickens just yet. But
it's not the City mentality to do that. The City mentality is to, because of all of the downs that they've had over the years, is to expect them to shoot themselves in the foot at some point. I think, to be honest, well, it's obviously City's to lose now, but I think, if I remember rightly, United had a 10-point advantage once a few years ago. Was it Leeds who ended up whipping them for the title? So, and I think United were 8 points above City with about 6 games to go in the 2012 season. There's a long way to go. A lot of injuries can happen, but it's definitely City's to lose. And if you're a betting man, you put your money on them now, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And one more thing, let's just before we change subject here, Ian, Rod, I mean, there's been a few rumours about an incident. It's come to light now that there was an incident involving Mourinho, Ederson, Milk, Arteta's eyebrow, etc., etc. Have you guys heard anything concrete?
Well, I know what Pep Guardiola's been saying. I was sat at the press conference today. He said that they showed respect on the pitch, but once they went into the dressing room, he made no bones about it, that they celebrated, and said that they celebrated in exactly the same way when they beat Southampton. And when they've had other victories during the season, he also highlighted the fact that in Germany, while he was there with Bayern Munich for 3 years, he developed the culture that the players on the pitch should go and celebrate with the fans, win, draw or lose. So I know it's easy to sort of snipe at City and say they celebrated like they won the league. Well, they created a new Premier League record of 14 wins in a row. They'd ended United's long unbeaten run at Old Trafford. They'd won a derby, a hard-fought derby. So I think they're entitled to celebrate. And when you look at Mourinho running down the touchline when he was Porto's manager, very disrespectful to United fans, and also that banner that was at Old Trafford for so long, which was very disrespectful to City, I think you're entitled to celebrate when you win there, don't you?
Absolutely. I'm not making no bones about it, Rod.
I've got no qualms about it. All I would say is if they're all diving out the dressing room and ready to fight, where was the fight before the start of the game? That's when they needed it.
Well done, Rod. Well said, mate.
There you go. Sorted. Brilliant. Let's move on. And, Man City made their possession count against United, something Arsenal failed to do a week ago. Now, speaking of Arsenal, they got off to the worst possible start at Southampton when snow on the M25 prevented many of Arsenal fan TV from getting to St Mary's. On the pitch wasn't much better either. Charlie Austin gave Southampton the lead earlier on, and it could have been 3 or 4 before a certain Olivier Giroud came off the bench again to grab another headed goal. Now, mate, we can add this to a list of vital goals scored by the Frenchman in the last 18 months. Now, our friend Duncan Alexander Opta kindly sent us a list of Giroud's goals since the beginning of season 2016-17. Now, this list contains opponents, dates, whether it was inside, outside the box, right or left foot, header, whether he started, came off the bench, and minutes scored. A whole bunch of information there. Now, since 2016-17, I did say that right, didn't I?
Yes.
Giroud has gained Arsenal 9 points from losing or drawing positions. Now, do you want me to list the games, or you're right?
No, all right.
You're right with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about Man United away, 89th minute equaliser. West Brom at home, an 86th minute winner. Bournemouth away, 90th minute equaliser. Leicester at home, the winner at the beginning of the season, and Southampton obviously away at the weekend, which he started on the bench. Now, do you rate Giroud, and is it fair to label him an impact striker?
Giroud. I rate the fact that he scores goals, and it's probably the most difficult thing to do as a striker. And he does that well. Yeah? Sorry, can we not go back to him? He's not my kind of type of player or striker that I like, but you can't argue that he puts the ball in the back of the net. He plays for France. He's their #1 striker there as well. A lot of people always seem to have a doubt about Giroud. Maybe it's the fact that he's not the quickest or whatever else, but as an impact striker as well, what's the impressive thing about it? He's not, like I said, he's not the quickest of strikers where he comes on for 15 minutes and defences are tired and he's got the pace to go in behind to hurt them. You know, so the fact that he comes on and makes an impact is more impressive. I personally think he should leave Arsenal. The fact is, Arsenal play with, like I said, now up front. Certain times they'll either go maybe Danny Welbeck or even Alexis Sanchez. Where does that leave Giroud to play in the Europa League? He's too good for that. For me personally, if he's got another 2-3 years left in his career, maybe in England, I think he should leave Arsenal.
And where do you think he should go?
Well, Everton are looking for a striker, so that could be a good option. He'll play there every week. Yeah, that's an option for me.
Okay. Great stuff. Great stuff. Right, so the second derby of the day was at Anfield, where a certain Wayne Rooney penalty earned Everton a big point at Anfield. Now, Mohamed Salah, who else, gave Liverpool the lead with a fantastic finish. But despite all the possession, pressure and attempts, Klopp's men just couldn't grab a second goal. Now, Ian, you know, Everton are the only side to have taken points off City this season, albeit under Koeman. No one actually gave them a chance at Anfield, but their overall performance silenced the doubters. This is a completely different Everton side to 2 weeks ago, isn't it?
Well, I didn't see the whole of the game, but from everything that I've been told, Liverpool completely dominated and frankly should have wiped the floor with them. And you know, I mean, I've watched Sam Allardyce at close quarters when he was at Bolton Wanderers, and obviously throughout his career, really. And he's a very pragmatic manager. We know that's a kind way sometimes of staying a bit defensive, and he can be a bit of a long ball merchant. I don't think the Liverpool derby is the one that you can use to sort of justify, you know, the change he's made at Everton, but he will make them more organised, that's for sure. I mean, I remember going to a training session at the beginning of the season at Bolton Wanderers when he was manager and Phil Brown was #2, and he had us all, the media, stood in formation in kits. We all wore kit. We didn't play with a football. We were just a defence shuffling across the back. And Phil Brown really taught us in sort of half an hour how to keep in shape no matter where you were. Now that might mean nothing to somebody like Rhodri because he's played the game and he's coached and everything. I'm just a fan. I'm just a journalist. So for me to be enlightened like that really give me an insight into the way that they think. He will undoubtedly, just like Pulis at West Brom and you know the other managers that have got that reputation, he will organise Everton now. I don't think there's any danger Everton now will go down. I think they'll end up being about 6th or 7th. I think it's a great shout that Giroud would fit in with the Everton style under Sam Allardyce. So yeah, you'll see a different Everton now, that's for sure. The game at the Etihad was a bit of a peculiar one because Kyle Walker got sent off and City came from behind to get a draw in a game which perhaps if they'd have had 11 men they might have ended up winning, but you know, as a City fan, you can't complain if you've only drawn one game and won all the rest, can you?
Exactly. And mate, you've actually been saying for a while that Liverpool saved their best performances against the big boys, but I don't know. I mean, is it unfair to heap criticism on them? Because I mean, they practically did everything they could apart from get a second goal.
The only criticism that you can label Liverpool is the fact that they didn't kill the game off. And as you know, 1-0 is a dangerous scoreline, and a free kick incident like that with a penalty can happen, and all of a sudden a game that you dominated, the derby that you should have won comfortably, ends up in a 1-1 draw. It's surprising considering Liverpool lately have been scoring goals for 5 at Brighton, 7 against Spartak Moscow, they scored 3 against Sevilla, so they've been free scoring. So the fact that they didn't kill the game off, was surprising. But you got to give Everton a little bit of credit as well. The fact that they hang on and waited for the opportunity and they got one, they took it, and happy days for Everton getting a point at Anfield.
Absolutely.
Am I right in thinking that Firmino was on the bench and Coutinho was on the bench?
They were, yes.
It was a very different Liverpool side that had played Moscow in midweek, wasn't it?
You started with Solanke up front, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a surprise, but yeah, Liverpool should have won that game comfortably.
Klopp obviously felt they had enough to win the game.
He's rotating a lot this season, isn't he? I think he's probably learned from last season the fact that
he knows that it's winter and the hammies are going to start going. Yeah, he knows. Rod, speaking of Klopp, he snapped at a journalist for the second time this season. He told he actually said, "Can we stop the interview because I want to talk to someone who has a little bit of understanding of football." Now he's got Arsenal, Spurs, and Burnley actually breathing down his neck at the moment. Are Liverpool mentally strong enough to handle the pressure?
I think we've seen before these managers when straight after the game the result hasn't gone their way, and especially how Liverpool played, because they absolutely pummeled Everton all game, and it's a game they should have won, and he's obviously frustrated. The penalty it's a blatant penalty. You know, it's clumsy. It's not. You know, it's a difficult one to take because Lovren's probably just the centre forward's been a bit cute. Lovren's bumped into him, and the way they angle the referee sees it looks like he literally pushes him to the ground. So, and it's a difficult one to take for him. But we've seen it before. I like Klopp. I like the way he goes about his business. He's obviously learning the way he's rotating, and you know, he's like I say, he should have won that game. And if he did, we've seen Ferguson did it umpteen times over the years by rotating the squad, and if you win, you're a great manager. If the result doesn't go your way, then people ask questions. He knows that, so it was just frustrating, and obviously the whistle just gone, and he told the reporter, oh, he's a bit rude, but you know, you don't mind that. It's the heat of the moment, as they say.
Well, look, I'm going to make a prediction now. I think Dejan Lovren is going to cost Klopp his job. Honestly, I think if he keeps picking this guy, eventually FSG is going to turn around and say, right, we're done with you.
He's got no choice, though. He's got no one else to play there. He ain't bought anybody to play there.
He bought Klavan, didn't he? Oh. He bought Matip, didn't he? Joe Gomez is supposed to be the next best thing. There you go. 3 defenders right there. Play James Milner as centre-back. He'll do a job. He'll do a better job, wouldn't he? Honestly, he would. Right. Strikers. Benteke. His last-minute penalty cost Palace all 3 points against Bournemouth, which then led to Boyce Roy Hodgson having to explain best he could to a fan at full time about what actually happened. Now, you can't actually blame Hodgson for being absolutely livid, given that Benteke wasn't actually the penalty taker, was he? I think it was Milojevic. Yeah.
It's a weird one because he took the penalty in the first half and he scored to put it top corner as well. So the fact that they got the second, if that was me, I used to take penalties. I'm getting the ball, I'm putting it down, no one's taking it. So the fact Benteke has convinced him that he's going to take the penalty, he just walked away, which was surprising. I mean, I can understand Benteke wanted to take it in a sense of he's a striker, he ain't scored. If he scores, they win 3-2, he gets the glory, he gets a goal, confidence. But
this is a 6-pointer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The fact that he hasn't scored for so long, and for him to be, it took guts for him to take it, though. I'll give him that. I mean, I know he's missed it, and in hindsight, it's not my team, but it took guts for him to get the ball.
You've got to go back to the actual penalty taker. There was a penalty they took in earlier on in this game, right?
Yeah, the guy that's...
Why on earth has he let Benteke take a penalty?
But that's what I'm saying. He convinced him that he was going to let him take it, which was surprising. And it was an awful penalty as well, Stel. He had no conviction. It was really bad. I mean, if he took it and put it in the corner and the keeper made a great save, you could say it was the fact that it was just a pathetic effort to take it. And I think he's missed 3 of the last 5 penalties he's taken.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, but he hasn't scored since May or something like that as well. So I think, but Palace won tonight, didn't they? They scored 2 in the last 2 minutes.
They were losing 1-0.
Yeah, they scored 2 goals. Wow. So they've got the win that they should have got at the weekend. Yeah, it was Sacco and MacArthur scored in injury time. So
yeah, that's a massive 3 points for them.
Absolutely, it's Watford as well. Ian, a David Moyes masterclass. I never thought I'd actually say that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he helped West Ham defy the odds to beat Chelsea 1-0. A win and a clean sheet. Christmas has come early for the Moyes boys. Are you impressed with their win?
Well, I think they played very well against City, actually, and I think they must have took a lot of confidence from the fact that they pushed them so far. It can go either way. When Huddersfield were beaten by a last few minutes winner against City, it seemed to knock the stuffing out of them. They got hammered in the next game. Whereas West Ham seem to have taken something from it. I mean, I've got a bit of a soft spot for West Ham, so I'd like to see them, stay in the Premier League. It's a shame that they've moved to the big stadium now, because it was great atmosphere down at Upton Park. As far as David Moyes is concerned, it's a little bit of a nonsense story for you. I'm not in the same league as your guest there in the studio, but I actually played in a testimonial once. It's the only competitive proper game, an Oldham Athletic testimonial for David Ayres, and David Moyes was my manager.
Wow.
So, I've got to say, he's the best manager I've ever had.
Hang on, did he make you train in a public park?
No.
He didn't.
No.
Did he ask you to watch DVDs of
Jagielka this time?
David Moyes did great at Preston, he did great at Everton in terms of stabilising clubs without doing anything spectacular with them. I'm sure he can do that at West Ham United. He wasn't the right man for the United job, but I think they're not that bad, West Ham. Surely they're not a team that are going to go down. So hopefully he will stabilise them. But I wouldn't say it was a masterclass. I think Chelsea are just a little half bin. I know I assume they bounced back tonight at Huddersfield.
Yeah,
3-1
yeah.
last time I looked.
3-1, yeah.
I think Chelsea just took their eye off it a bit. Conte chucking in the Premier League title and everything like that. That affects the players. That makes them, lose a little bit of motivation. And perhaps they've been refocused again now after that. And I can't help thinking that was part of the reason why West Ham won that game.
Yeah, that's right. I just think they've been unlucky since he's taken over. They're unlucky against Watford. They're unlucky against City, to be fair. Yeah. So yeah, I think you're right. I think
could have beaten Leicester as well at home.
Exactly. Yeah. So, oh well. Right. The draw for the last 16 of the Champions League was made on Monday, and we've got some cracking games to look forward to. Holders Real Madrid face free-scoring PSG, while last season's beaten finalists Juventus meet Spurs. Now, another tasty encounter is Chelsea versus Barcelona, and if the two legs are anything like what we're used to seeing between the two over the years, it'll be quite an amazing tie. Now, Liverpool drew Porto, while the Manchester clubs are favourites to overcome Basel and Sevilla. Now, the other two games see Bayern face dark horses Besiktas, and Roma play Shakhtar Donetsk, who actually beat City the other day, funny enough. City's reserve, shall I say. Now, gents, I know it's down to business, and at least one of the favourites will go out. So who do you think will be the eventual winners? What about you? Let's start with you, little man.
Manchester City.
City to win the Champions League and the Premier League?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Just like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Rod?
This pains me.
Okay,
I can't
move
do
on.
this
Rod?
anymore.
Yeah, well, we obviously have to wait and see who comes through the Paris Saint-Germain, the Real Madrid one. But, if Paris Saint-Germain come through that, I fancy them. But, like Jan, you can't see past City the way they're playing at the minute. Obviously, the usual suspect, Barcelona. It'll be tough for Chelsea. But, yeah, I can't see past, obviously, Paris Saint-Germain if they get through. If they don't, then, yeah, it's City for me as well.
Ian?
Looking at it from my point of view, City are not used to being favourites in these competitions, and with all the expectation that's on the shoulders at the moment, that may weigh a little heavy on them. I think they'll beat Basel easy enough, but I think whoever wins the Real Madrid Paris Saint-Germain game is still the favourites to me. I still think that Bayern Munich might not have done an awful lot so far. Juventus and the winners of Chelsea against Barcelona are all going to be big contenders. It's a cup competition. The fact it's over two legs right up to the final evens that cup element out a little bit. But I still think that there's several teams who can win it. I think it'd be a fool that says there's a favourite at this stage, but City have certainly got the best chance they've ever had, so far anyway, of winning it. So let's see, but being favourites might not help them, actually.
Yeah, true.
It's an open Champions League this year, isn't it? There isn't
Yeah,
that.
it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, United could win it. Liverpool could easily win it with the firepower they've got over two-legged games. So there's the 3 or 4 teams. I don't think Tottenham, I don't think Chelsea can win it. But there's the other 3.
Who do you think?
Do you know what? I'm going to make a very bold prediction here. I'm going to go Barcelona to win the Champions League. I'm going to go Argentina to win the World Cup and Messi to win the Ballon d'Or and retire.
Oh.
I'll just go back to Newell's old boys because I just think that Valverde's come in at Barcelona and he's solidified them defensively. They're not as attack-minded as what they used to be. They've got the attacking threat anyway, so they don't need to play this expansive, crazy style that they did over the years with Villanova and Guardiola and whoever, Tito Martino, whatever. But I think Valverde's done a fantastic job making that defense more solid. They're running away with La Liga. They can take their after. They've got the El Clasico on the 23rd. If they win that, then again, it's a similar situation with the derby in Manchester, where if they win, you can probably say that the title's done and dusted. So I think they'll be focusing on the Champions League. And with Messi not winning the Ballon d'Or, I think, was it 2 years now he hasn't won it?
Yeah, Ronaldo's won it.
So, and with the World Cup looming, there's going to be a lot of pressure on the guy. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. And we said it before the qualifier against Ecuador. He's got to turn up. Yeah. And by God, did he turn up. So I just think this is going to be his final, how can I put it?
Accolade of what he does, or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, That's going to be his thing. But yeah, let's wrap it up with just one more bit of news. Borussia Dortmund. Now obviously I've got something in for them. Their recent form has led to the sacking of Peter Bosz. Yep. You know that?
Yeah.
And now the former Ajax man who guided his young squad to the Europa League final last season couldn't work his magic in Germany and has been handed his P45 or P45, or whatever they call it in Germany. I don't know. Mate, they're sixth in Bundesliga, 13 points behind Bayern. Ancelotti was sacked for a lot less.
Yep.
What do you make of the situation at Dortmund?
Embarrassing for the size of that club in Germany and what they've spent and their philosophy as well of how they play football. I think they went 8-9 games without a win. They won tonight, funny enough, with their new manager. So I think they beat Mainz 2-0 away from home tonight. So it shows that with a change of manager, Mainz.
Oh, I thought you mean Bean Company.
You're on me tonight, innit? I think you've missed me. So it's no surprise that they've changed the manager and a new style and new ideas as somebody come in new and got the players playing, because the players there are better than what the results and the performances have shown. They were pathetic in the Champions League. I mean, a group like that with the Cypriots as well. I think, was it 1 point, 2 points, whatever they got in the group? That's terrible. So he had to go. So good luck to them now with their new manager.
Oh, well. Right, that's it for us tonight, guys. Ian, thank you.
I just add something
Absolutely.
As a bit of a Schalke fan, derby rivals of Dortmund, and having come back from 4-0 down to get a 4-all draw a couple of weeks ago, it doesn't surprise me really to capitulate like that when you're 4-0 up at home in front of 83,000 in the derby, and to end up drawing 4-4. That's the sort of result that often costs the manager a job, doesn't it? So that put a smile on my face.
Absolutely, it put a smile on mine because I've got a bee in my bonnet about Dortmund. There's something about them. I'm not going to go into it. Right, I'm going to get death threats from Germans. Right, Ian, before I let you go, mate. Quick plug to your Twitter handle, your YouTube channel, everything.
Yeah, Ian Cheeseman is the Twitter, and if you've not looked at it yet, especially if you're not put off by the fact that you're a red and you don't want to watch anything to do with derby, but Ian Cheeseman Forever Blue. The latest vlog that's gone up there is the story of the fans at Old Trafford, but I do a vlog at every game, home and away. Take a look, and thanks for your support.
Great stuff. And when are you on the radio next?
I was on tonight. I was on Monday, but I'm not on again now till next Monday.
There you go. And that's which station?
Actually, that's a pre-record for next Tuesday. It's XS Manchester.
There you go.
The show called Forever Blue every Tuesday 6 till 7, and Wednesdays I'm on there as well.
Great stuff. Thank you very much for your time, Ian. Rod?
It's Rod James Giggs.
Excellent. And what was that chip shop called again?
Wilson Road.
They didn't give you any free grub. I'd be very, very annoyed. You gave him free plugs last week. You could charge him.
You haven't got a free big issue because he sold them all. What's your Twitter handle? At
Yiannakis J.
Big issue.
Big issue. Yeah. That's my new job now.
Great stuff. Well, look, we're on Twitter at Shoot It Defence, and if you get the chance, please visit the Beyond the Pitch website because there's an interview with Paul Pogba I did. That's the feather in my cap. I can retire happy man.
That's a fantastic interview, may I say. Not
What,
because you're my
all
friend
9
and my
minutes?
colleague. No, it was brilliant.
All 9 minutes.
I thought you conducted yourself very professionally and very good. So
thank you very much. I tried my best. I tried my best.
you did indeed.
And Sky Sports actually took a few quotes from that as well.
They did.
Pay me. Right. Until next time, guys. Take care.